I didn't realize something was wrong with the Airbnb, until I tried to unlock the door. The key didn't turn. Not like it was stuck or broken, but like something on the other side briefly matched its movement, and then let go. The door finally opened into a house that looked completely normal. Too normal. Like nothing had ever gone wrong inside it. For a few seconds, nothing happened at all. Just silence. But it was a silence that didn't feel natural, like the house was waiting for me to do something first. I stood there longer than I should have, just listening to nothing. Even that nothing felt uneven, like it wasn't fully stable. Then, my phone buzzed with one message from an unknown number, saying, "You're inside." I stared at it. I hadn't given my number to anyone connected to this booking. When I looked up, nothing had changed. Everything was still calm, almost too calm. But now, I was noticing small things I didn't notice before. Like the light inside reacting a fraction too late, or the air feeling slightly delayed. I stepped inside anyway, and closed the door. The hallway light flickered once, then stayed on, like it had never flickered at all. I picked up my bag and walked further in, just observing. The house looked identical to the listing. Perfect furniture. Perfect lighting. Perfect arrangement. But something about it felt staged, like it was copied, instead of lived in. Even my footsteps sounded slightly off, like the house wasn't fully syncing with me yet. Then, I noticed a printed note on the table. I read it once, and then again. My phone buzzed again, from that same unknown number, "Don't read it twice." I still looked back at the note. That's when I noticed something new. A second line had appeared that wasn't there before, saying, "Do not use the basement." I froze. I hadn't even seen a basement mentioned in the listing or photos. I turned toward the hallway, slowly. And that's when I noticed it. A door, at the very end, slightly open. But the strange part was, I wasn't sure when it became visible. I felt like it hadn't been there a second ago. I stood still, trying to process that feeling, when my phone buzzed again. But this time, there was no text. Just vibration. Then silence. Then another buzz. And then, nothing happened for a while. No sound. No movement. No light changes. Just a long, stretched silence that started to feel heavier the longer it continued, like the house was holding its breath with me inside it. Then, everything broke at once. My phone buzzed rapidly. The hallway light flickered twice, then stayed half dim. The basement door closed by itself. And from behind it, came a single knock. Not loud. Not fast. Just precise, like someone tapping to confirm something was working, and then, silence again. Like the system had reset. I didn't move. Moving felt like a trigger, like I was inside something that reacted to observation instead of action. Then my phone buzzed again, saying, "You looked at it." I didn't respond. I just backed into the kitchen, slowly. Even there, nothing happened for a while. Just calm. But an unstable calm, like something trying to stay invisible while still being present. Then the kitchen light flickered once. The sink turned on for half a second, and stopped. My phone buzzed 3 times in a row. You shouldn't have paused there. You gave it attention. Now it knows timing. That last message felt less like a warning, and more like an instruction being updated in real time. Like something was learning from how I reacted. And then, silence again. But not a stable silence. It kept restarting itself in my head, like gaps appearing where sound should have been. I realized I was starting to anticipate the silence instead of the noise, which felt worse than anything happening. I moved back toward the hallway, slowly, step by step. Still, nothing happened, until halfway there, when I realized the basement door was gone completely. Just a flat wall, like it had never existed at all. I stopped. My brain refused to accept it. I checked the angle again and again, but it stayed gone. Then my phone buzzed with a photo. It was the basement stairs. Except, I was standing on them in the image, even though I was still in the hallway looking at a wall. I looked down, and there were no stairs, just the floor. But my body felt like it remembered them, even though they weren't there. Then everything hit at once. The hallway light went out. My phone lost signal. And something knocked from inside the wall, right next to me. But this time it wasn't one knock. It was two, spaced unevenly, like something adjusting its timing. I stepped back immediately, and everything went silent again. Too fast. Like a reset had cut the moment off. I walked toward the front door immediately now. There was no hesitation left. Just exit. Just get out. But halfway there, everything broke again. The basement door was suddenly back, open wider than before. The kitchen light turned on by itself. My phone rang, even though there was no signal. I didn't answer it. It stopped instantly, and silence returned, like nothing had happened again. But now, I was noticing something worse. The silence wasn't consistent. It was patchy, like parts of the house were lagging behind reality, and others were ahead of it. That made everything feel slightly misaligned, like I was walking through something that wasn't fully synchronized. I reached the front door, grabbed the handle, and it opened too easily. Outside air hit me. Normal street. Normal sound. Normal world. Almost violently normal compared to inside, like I had stepped out of a system that was still running behind me. I stepped out fast and didn't look back at first. I just walked, until I stopped without knowing why, and turned. The house looked completely normal. Perfect. Still. No movement at all, like nothing had ever happened inside it. For a second, I almost convinced myself I imagined everything, until my phone buzzed again with one message: "You left it mid-observation." And that felt wrong, because I hadn't told anyone I was observing anything. I looked up again, and noticed something new. The basement window was now visible, even though I was certain it hadn't been before. And behind it, there was just stillness. Like something was standing there without moving, or reacting. Then, silence again. Too long. Too clean. Like a reset had finished properly this time. I told myself it was over. I booked a hotel in a different part of the city, trying to reset my mind with normal surroundings. Normal locks. Normal doors. Normal people. For almost an hour, nothing happened. No messages. No sounds. No interruptions. And that silence felt worse than the house, because now I was actively waiting for it to return. The waiting felt like part of it. Then, at 3:07 a.m., I woke up. I noticed the hotel room door was already open, slightly. My shoes were placed outside the room, facing inward. And my phone turned on by itself, with no notification sound. One message appeared, saying, "You moved it with you." I didn't understand what that meant, until everything happened at once. A knock from the wall. A knock from the closet. And a knock directly behind my bed. All slightly out of sync, like they didn't belong to the same moment, or the same space. I didn't turn around. I didn't breathe. In the silence after that, my phone lit up one last time. The final message appeared. "You're not between it anymore." And something shifted behind me. Not like movement, but like the room itself had briefly lost alignment with the space around it, before snapping back into place. And in that moment, I realized, it wasn't following me. It had already been where I was going, before I arrived.